Superman 78 issue 1. But this is Robert Venditti writing with Wilfredo Torres on the art, or Wilfredo, maybe, say pronounce that.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'd say Wilfredo.
I'm not sure, but so this is obviously set in the Superman movie world, much like Batman 89 was for its own movie world, and it is the story of Brainiac in the context of the Christopher Reeve Superman world, which is a very interesting prospect to sink your teeth into.
Big time.
So yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect, and I think the funny thing. Well, first of all, it starts off with a dedication page for Richard Donner, which was a really nice thing to do, actually.
Got me a little dusty, not gonna lie.
Richard Donner, like, there's a few directors who really molded my taste as a child, and I think Richard Donner is up there between Superman, The Goonies, and the Lethal Weapon movies, which I shouldn't have been watching as a kid, but I was. Like,
I mean, if you don't grow up idolizing Martin Riggs, are you really growing up? I ate dog biscuits once because I watched him do it in the movie.
That's right? Lethal Weapon 3. He's trying to give up smoking and he starts eating dog biscuits. Yeah.
Anyways, this book, the Richard Donner thing, I was not. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, because of course they would put a dedication page to the man that directed the original movie, who recently passed away. But yeah, so starting off on a high note.
Yeah, so there's just a little bit of the end of the Krypton segment again, mostly just sort of showing what we see in the movie, but of course there's the little tease at the end that something else is happening. It looks like we're getting a bottled city, because there's like glass coming up over, and like Jor-El's like, something's happening, this isn't right. But then we see Krypton explode, and it's just kind of as expected. But we see the eyes of Brainiac as if he's watching this all play out. But that's when we go to, you know, I don't want to quite say modern day. It might still technically be the 70s, because it's Superman 78 after all.
It seems very, looking at the fashions, it's very, very 70s.
So
I mean, the girl on roller skates right there to the left of Clark.
Yeah.
Or right of Clark.
But present day in the context of like the story.
Right.
Because obviously that was a flashback. So Clark is like meets in with Lois, and I will say it does a decent job of getting their voices right. It does sound like Margot Kidder's Lois. I was hearing her voice. I felt the same with Perry. I was hearing the Perry White from the movie later on when we hear his dialogue or see his dialogue. And there's a fun bit where he helps the police catch a purse snatcher.
Superman's heat vision here, and 2 little red lines. This is what we're used to with heat vision, and I love that the dude's shoes catch on fire. Like he has to put him out in a puddle. Yeah. Like, again, this is very Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, if there's a critique, perhaps, in terms of like maybe the storytelling here, is that it maybe is being a little too like these first scenes with Lois and then Perry. They kind of feel like they are just like slightly reworded versions of scenes that were in the movie, and in the sense that it's still just Clark being a bit too happy and like goofy, and Lois saying you got to stick up for yourself, and then Perry saying that Clark, because he's a great speller, but he has to go find the story.
I love that keeps because Venditti, one of my favorite writers at DC, keeping the Lois can't spell things properly. I like that he says that Clark spells things better than the dictionary. But that doesn't make a good reporter. You got to get out there and get your hands dirty and whatnot. Like, I love that. But just the subtext there that, Lois, while not a best speller, is she goes out there and she'll get her hands dirty. Also, the juxtaposition here of the Brainiac droids in the world of the 78 Superman is just weird. Because these look like ones from the regular comics. You know what I mean? And they almost don't match the aesthetic. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, because basically what happens during this scene is that Brainiac drone falls down to Earth, makes a big crash landing, Clark runs off, and Superman, of course, and you know what, I'll give them credit. Like, I almost feel like I'm not accusing the artist of anything here, but like the panel of the shirt ripping open, right, is so accurate to the movie's moment where he does that. Obviously he was referencing it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had actually just printed out the frame and just traced it, because it looks so matching.
yeah, if you look behind me, the panel of him flying, I have hanging up right here. Like, and it almost matches the dynamics perfectly. So I would not be surprised if those were not, you know, I don't want to say traced because I don't want to accuse anybody of tracing. No, just the shirt rip open and then him flying. Like that panel is very familiar to me because I've had a picture of Christopher Reeve in my office like that. That when I bought I have an original poster of Superman 2 that I got at we had this weird poster store in downtown Henderson. Didn't last very long, but I have an original run Superman 2 poster that has the Twin Towers on it. And when I bought that, they gave me a free Christopher Reeve picture, I guess they were trying to get rid of. That has been in my office ever since. So,
well. And for the record, I'm not complaining here. Like, I get why in your first issue, as much as I think maybe some of the conversations with the characters are a bit too much, just redoing some movie scenes. As much as I do think the voices are really accurate, I do think having this moment where he rips the shirt open, having that be just 1-to-1 what was in the movie actually does make a lot of sense to me. Is like, hey, this is really the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Familiar.
You know, you see him flying, and it looks like his face. Like, I don't think they nail all the faces, but it does look like Christopher Reeve Superman.
It's close enough, and that's what I like. Like, it's kind of what we say about Gary Frank, where you know he looks like the Christopher Reeve Superman. And here it's like, well, yeah, it's supposed to be, but it's also a comic book version of that. So, you know, because even Lois kind of looks like Margot Kidder, but not really. Like, it's a few degrees off.
It's kind of, you know, so Superman fights the Brainiac drone, a lot of action, flying through windows, all that sort of stuff. Eventually, Superman's able to punch him, says nice to meet you as he knocks off his head. And as the thing's like sort of like turning off, I don't want to say dying per se because it's a robot. Says sending data to mothership, alerting Brainiac, and Superman's like, "What's a Brainiac?" So we cut to Brainiac's like base ship, where he's got another bottled city he's putting into his collection, and it's basically just him saying, "Wait, there's a Kryptonian. A Kryptonian survived. This unbalance must be fixed. I'm coming to Earth." And that's getting a cliffhanger. So really simple. It's just kind of, you know, the first signs of Brainiac arriving and teasing that that's about to happen. I'll say I like this a bit better than the Batman 89 story. Yeah, I would still say that it doesn't feel like, I think this is very pleasant and it's a nice read. The art's nice. It's not amazing. It's not like, you know, jaw dropping or anything. It's just nice. But I wouldn't say the story's like, it still just kind of feels like, oh, we're just doing kind of the basic beats of Brainiac's coming to Earth, as opposed to like, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but it kind of feels like it is just like a cheap nostalgia pop, rather than feeling like it's doing anything super interesting with it.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like this is the Brainiac showed up in that universe instead of getting Nuclear Man, right? Like, well, that's what it looks like. However, I think I just might want to wait to pick this up in a trade and read it as one solid piece, you know?
It didn't feel super fulfilling as an issue. Yeah, it felt... No. Because most of it was the fight with the Brainiac drone, and I don't know if the art was good enough to make it feel like that was worth the whole chapter. As it was, but... So,
it felt like we got we were watching something on TV and then it went to commercial. And now I've switched the channel. And I have to wait a month till I can turn it back. So I'm probably, as of right now, probably just gonna wait for these.
Despite having a name, because I think, you know, Venditti's a big enough name that it doesn't feel like just any old writer's been thrown on it, but it still kind of feels like a weird offshoot licensed book than it does like something. Yeah. You know, and it's not to say that it has to be in continuity. Again, I feel like people might make that mistake when I say things like that. I just mean, like, Black Label and out of continuity books sometimes feel like the most prestigious and must-read things that there is. This doesn't feel must-read to me. This just kind of feels like, you know, this is equal to like Batman Beyond, right, when that was ongoing. It's like, this is nice and fine for fans of the show, but it doesn't feel like something I need to be paying attention to all that much.
Right. Like, I can tell that Venditti really loves that movie, right? Like, just to be able to write these scenes, I'm sure he was stoked on it. It, you know, and that comes through as you're reading it. again, though, like you said, a nostalgia pop. That's exactly what this is.
It's the equivalent to like a tie-in novel to a movie where it exists for people to get more out of like those characters or more of those versions of those characters, but like only the hardcores of the hardcores really care enough to really keep up with them. Like, you know, like, I don't know if Connor reads Doctor Who novels, for example, so he can get more of the 10th and 9th and whatever Doctors.
He might, though.
He might, because he's a loser, let's be honest. But it's fun when he's not here. We can just make fun of him. But like, that's kind of what this does to me. Where like I'm not typically a big fan of tie-in stuff. It tends to be special cases where I care about that sort of thing. And despite the fact that obviously it's a comic book and Superman comes from comics, this still feels like a tie-in to the movie rather than an actual comic book that feels worth reading on its own right. So, but it's not bad. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly pleasant, but nothing special.
Yeah. And it sounds like you like this a bit more than the Batman 89. Which,
a bit more, yeah.
Which tells me I think you like Superman 78 a whole lot more than Batman 89.
Oh, I definitely like Superman 78 a lot more than Batman 1989.
I'm not surprised. So which means I feel these are hitting their niche where they should be. So that's at least they're executing that, I feel.
Bay, what are you rating Superman 78 issue 1?
I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll say 6.5. It's kind of... It's fine. It's fine. It's not... I wouldn't quite call it good, because I don't think it's necessary. I wouldn't recommend it that much.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of caveats.
People talking about it either.
Yeah.
Like, over this week. So, I heard a lot more about Batman 89 than I did Superman 78. So...